to remind us of our motto. Sometimes people don't know our motto, but we have a motto, sisma, our motto here. Does everyone know our motto? Which is the one that says, love the Lord your God with all your heart. Okay, so how do we do that here? We focus on doing his aliyah scriptures right here. The aliyah scriptures. That's how we, by the way for you. So that's how we love the Lord, by doing his dream, helping with his dream, teaching, in this case, teaching his dream. People here don't make aliyah necessarily, but teaching about aliyah and helping with aliyah, serving aliyah, doing the dream. Okay, the next commandment is, according to the book of Mark, the next commandment is love your neighbors yourselves. How do we do that? In unconditional love, in uncompromising faith. So it's called unconditional love in uncompromising faith. That's the motto. We don't have any conditions on our love. Unconditional. People sometimes wonder, what is that all about? People don't know what unconditional love is. It means no conditions. Someone could be secular Jew, Orthodox Jew. They could be a visitor here who's and we help anyone who's made aliyah. We serve them volunteering. We also love one another. There's many groups of believers. Of course, they go through a process before they're accepted here. I just talked about my wife goes through a big process before they're accepted into this community, into this gated community. They go through a process. They do a Zoom call. But we have to love someone even if they are more a Baptist kind that's here to serve, or more a charismatic kind that's here to serve. And they are maybe different, but they're here, and we all unconditional love in uncompromising faith. We don't compromise who we are, but we have unconditional love. The other motto we have, there's another saying we have, which is, see those flags out there. It's discipling nations. Maybe we just say this together if you know it. Discipling nations to practically bless God, his land, and people. It sounds like a big, tall order in Starbucks. Would you say you ordered? Yeah, discipling nations to practically. How do I say practically? Mamashi. Masi. Discipling nations, that's the key word. Discipling nations to practically, mamashi. Discipling nations to practically bless God, his land, and people. Practically bless God, his land, and people. There's plenty of people who can talk a lot, but practically bless God, his land, and people. How can we do that? Well, that's what we're here to disciple nations in, how to practically bless God, his land, and people. Good. That is also a little encouragement just to start.
Then you have the forward one. Stay.
Yeah, that's what we do here is we stay, pray, learn, serve.
Right.
Or rather, pray, stay, learn, serve. Pray, stay, learn, serve. Pray, stay, learn, serve. Pray. There's a prayer house here, Vertical Galilean House of Prayer. It used to be a big building over there, 3-story building. We left that, gave it to an organization, and we popped over here to this small room. That building is going to be a school, it looks like. That's what we talked about. It looks like it's going to be a school across the $5 million project we did there. So it's now here. Prayer room, Vertical Galilean House of Prayer. There's also an online version, 5,000 people on it, called Altar of Prayer. So pray, stay. We've got a few places to stay. We got this place, and maybe we'll get another place over there. There's the studio. People shouldn't really be staying there, even though they sometimes do. Pray, stay, learn. We have the Ambassador Academy. Serve, we have a volunteer program led by Stephanie. She's the volunteer coordinator girl. So I have a little encouragement, not long. That's just our motto. I like to say who we are every single week. I know people get tired of it maybe, but it's just nice to re-declare it again every week. Why are we here? People can be in different offices and different spaces for different reasons. We have to say it again and again and again every week for 13 years because people can so quickly forget. It's unbelievable how quickly we can forget. So here we go, is a little encouragement, if I may. Very short, don't worry, I'm not long, even though I was, ordained. Okay, I want to just talk about Nourished, and this connects with what we were talking about last night as neighbors. Nourished by the nations, from Moses to Messiah to modern Israel. Nourished by the nations. The prophetic, nourished by the nations. From Moses to Messiah to modern Israel. Okay, Africa, there's a bunch of nations there, right? Africa as a continent was the first womb of Israel if you're talking about Moses the Levite. Moses the Levite. Did you guys know that Moses was a Levite?
Mm-hmm.
Levi. Says in Exodus chapter 2, he was born to a Levite mother. And how long was he hidden there in Africa? Well, a long time, but how long was he hidden in the bulrushes at the Nile? 3 months. Interesting number. 3 months. Rescued by Pharaoh's daughter. We know the story. Africa became a womb that nurtured not only this priest. Levite means priest. Right? Priestly family. Not only did it nurture and care for this Levite, Moses, they really became the funders of Aliyah in the end. The Africans became the funders of Aliyah in the history. How weird is that to even say? Okay, God chose this pattern. Africa became the womb that nurtured, literally as a baby, literal like womb, nurturing the deliverer, the Aliyah of Israel. Wasn't so good. So Israel became a nation. Israel became a nation inside Africa. 70 souls, a few families, right? How many families? 12. They became a nation. Egypt is the incubator where God says, my firstborn was incubated or nurtured. How do you call that? What's the word for when you're in a womb? You are
nurtured,
formed and nurtured. But there's a word which relates to gestation. Yeah, gestated, where you're formed as a baby. Africa was the place of Israel's forming as a nation. The firstborn son, Exodus 4. There's a pattern of the Levite gets no inheritance. The Levite needs to be nurtured by somebody, because even in Israel, it doesn't get a land like everybody else. Doesn't get have to grow his crops. He needs to be nurtured by somebody. Somebody's got to nurture this Levite, right? Levites live on the tithes, or essentially they're nurtured by the rest, not only of the tribes, but I would venture by the nations, have a job to nurture and sustain a kingdom of priests. All of Israel, not just the Levites. All of Israel is supposed to be a kingdom of Levites. It's their job to be kingdom of Levites in Exodus 19. And the nations have a job to foster, and I'll read a very awkward verse. You guys ready for awkward verse time? Isaiah 60, verse 16. Kings will be your foster fathers, and queens your nursing mothers. Queens, foster fathers, nursing mothers. You will drink the milk of nations, nurse at the breast of kings. Sounds weird, but this is the nurturing process, like a baby, like a wet nurse, nourishing a baby. What baby? Israel, nourishing Israel. Who can tell me of the famous king that was nurtured and cared for actually in Gaza, of all places? That's their job. Is supposed to be taking care of one of our guys. He wasn't a king at the time, but
David.
King David. He wasn't a king yet, but he flees to Achish, right? Achish. Lachish, was it? But he eventually goes to a king of Gaza. Goes to the king, and these kings nurture him, take care of him actually in the end. And it becomes a protected nation. Just to wrap up, do you know who else was gone for, some say 3 years? So 3 months was Moses. I don't know how long David, 3 something. And 3 years supposedly for another young guy, nurtured in Africa. Who knows? Does anyone know? No? Oh, Joseph was there too. Yeah, that's true. That gave us the food we needed to nurture us with food so we don't die. Yes, Africa gave us the food we need.
3 years.
It's like opposite today, right? But it's maybe not opposite today. Yeshua, a lot of people say Yeshua was 3 years in Africa.
Right.
3 years in Africa. Isn't that interesting? 3 years in Africa. Some people say 3 years. Maybe it was less. Maybe it was 2 years. But some scholars say 3 years in Africa. And Herod is trying to do the opposite of what the nation's role is. Trying to kill, not nourish and nurture, kill the seed of hope. That's what goes on. You're like, Chaim, you're talking the opposite. Usually, isn't it true that the nations usually try to kill the seed of hope? Yeah, that's true. That's what happens. But that's not their role. Their role is the opposite. It's to be nourishing the seed of hope. And just to end, that we know in the future, nations are going to come and not just come to visit and take something from Jerusalem, from Israel. They're going to come to the Galilee of the nations, and they're going to bring nourishment. Some prophecies say gold. Some say gifts to Jerusalem. And kings will come to the brightness of your rising and all that. So that's my prayer and hope that nations...
And foreigners will build your walls.
Foreigners will build your walls. They'll be your vine dressers, your plowmen. Hey, it's great. You know what else they're going to do? They're going to carry your sons in their arms and your daughters carried on the shoulders. Sons in the arms, that's like a nourishing, foster-like thing for someone who's not your kid. You're carrying somebody who's not your kid, not your child. It's kind of like fostering. That's the role of nations. And you can, Sam, you can start. Yeah, that's the role of nations. Have a good week to everyone. God bless.